my name's Jenny, and we are doing a gun control and moto group discussion about our different groups, and with me I have...
I'm Maggie, and I was in Gun Control 4.
And I was in Gun Control 3, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the questions that Nicole Mira set up for us and respond with what each of our groups found for examples of each of them. And so I'm going to start out with question 1 with the personal connections. So my example is a person in my group said, "Hi, my name is blank, and gun violence affects me personally because I've witnessed many people in my community and city lose their families and friends to it, and the recent school shootings are painful to hear about. I think that we need to enforce stricter gun laws and limit the access to such weapons. The news media seems to only report on these issues and not offer a solution, but then again, that's not really their role. In all honesty, I rely on them to learn about gun violence, though, so it's definitely helping the people more than hurting them, in my opinion." So I found this personal comment by Fulani really intriguing. He was both connective with telling about how family and friends are often lost to gun laws, but also vague in mentioning any way that guns had actually affected him. This comment perfectly displays the theme of our conversation when it comes to personal connections. Touching, but not too personal. The way he talked about the two differing opinions of how people view the news shows great social commentary on the state of the United States. And then another one in my group that I found for question 2, which is community connections, is I started off with, "Hi, my name is Janessa. I go to Chugiak High School. Personally, gun violence has not affected me, but there has been several school shooting threats at my school. Guns are extremely popular in Alaska for hunting purposes, so I am constantly around them. It's completely normal to own a gun, especially since they are mainly used for getting food. The aspect of owning guns for food is definitely something that I'm quite used to." And then a person in my group responds to this, "Hi, Janessa, I'm from Philadelphia, and gun violence in schools isn't that big of an issue here, but it's definitely more prominent in my city. I've never had to hunt for my food or even use a gun, so that's something interesting to hear." So in this interaction, I bring up the connection with my community through how we use guns for hunting purposes and how that is like a normalized thing here. The individual responding commented on this, saying that they had never had to hunt for food or any such thing. This interaction shows the juxtaposing ways of life between us and the people that we are conversing with, and brings up both our community connections, one of which is surrounded constantly by guns, and the other where guns are mainly a thing of the past. I thought it was interesting how gun violence in schools was not a big deal in a big city like Philadelphia, but we have had several school shooting threats here at Chugiak alone, though no one has acted upon them. And so, all in all, I just thought that, like, the connections that we had with, like, our different conversations was incredibly powerful, like, both with the community connections and the personal connections. I thought both of those were like super important to it. And now, Maggie.
Okay, and then I'll be talking about question 5, ease of conversation. In my group, we found this really long quote where somebody wrote a lot, but at the very end they said, "I actually don't mind if we disagree, because then we can bounce ideas off of each other and try to get each other to understand the other's beliefs and stances. I think the beauty of this country is that we are so free to express and converse about topics like this. So thank you for reading this, and feel free to comment to start a conversation with me." This comment is proof of the ease of talking for some. Many find it quite easy to discuss this topic at length, especially since it is such a popular topic right now for many. They bring up the many different topics that people typically discuss when it comes to gun control, and she found it quite easy to discuss at length all of her different opinions, and I find that really respectable. Her ease probably comes from her comfort with the subject. I would say the ease of the conversation is quite comfortable. And then another one for question 3, points of commonality. There's a quote, and this girl says, "Hello, I'm blank, and I believe that taking away guns won't be a solution for gun control. I think that if guns were taken away, then people would turn to bombs. What are you guys feeling / believes about this issue? How does this issue affect each of your lives personally? And then somebody responded to her saying, I agree that taking away guns would not solve anything. There will also be people that want to do terrible things, and they will always find ways to do so. A great example is England. They took away all of their public guns except for certain clubs, and right after the number of killings with guns skyrocketed. It's a prime example that people will find another way. I believe we need to try and enforce the current gun laws we already have better rather than take them away or make new laws. I'm curious to hear your guys' point of view. I think this interaction speaks to how the interactions occurred with both groups. When talking, they both found points of common interest. As you can see through how they agreed about not needing to completely take away guns. I thought it was very interesting how the responder to the statement agreed, but then also added on to what was being said by bringing their own point of view into play. This is an incredibly important skill, the ability to add on to an original idea, and also being able to add on to the point by bringing in scholarly research like the individual did with the statistics about England. Overall, it was a very intelligent interaction.
Okay, and so for question 4, I'm going to be speaking for both me and Maddie Maggie, not Maddie, on the points of difference. So from what I found from both groups, I found like no real disagreement in either group. And I'm thinking that the reasoning for this is probably that people do not like to conflict, especially on like such a touchy subject such as gun control, because you constantly see it in the news and like you don't know whether or not people have like personal experiences with it. You just never know their background, and it's often very hard to like tell if like they have like a history of this, and most people do not want to offend anyone. So, and people base their opinions on things such as gun control off of their own personal opinions and experiences, because almost everyone has like experienced a situation with a gun in it that has changed their personal point of view on the subject. And so that concludes our conversation about our different groups' conversations, our Edmodo conversations on gun control. And so hopefully that gave you a better look into what the teens of America think about gun issues and gun control.